Hello Sentinels, and by that I mean people that have adult ADHD that are over the age of 26. And why that? Well, because your prefrontal cortex has basically stopped developing, and that means, quite simply, you're biologically complete. Now that might sound quite odd, but that is just a simple fact. Now, my name's Gavin Redman, this is LeadersTribe.tv. As always, it is about drug-free ADHD and super focus. And if you do like the content, please like the page, or subscribe on YouTube. It's up to you. I also do some stuff on Instagram just to prove that I'm doing this every day. Don't necessarily post it every day, but I actually do these practices every day. And today I'm going to be talking about one of those, and it's one that's really important and close to my heart, and it's something that Socrates applied, and basically I've realized that it appears a lot in rhetoric, speaking, thinking, and basically it's about infinite emphasis and repetition. It's something that we have problems with if you have ADHD, is trying to actually make sure that if you have a plan that you can actually execute into the future. So we may think of something and just not stick to it, and this is my way of actually sticking to it. It is extremely simple, and it needs to be, and I find that anything, if you've got a plan, whatever it may be, whether it's business or life or anything else you're trying to do, if it's too complicated, more than likely, even as a normal person, it probably won't work. So this is my trick that I use. It's basically 3 simple knots. These things I actually make myself. The reason I make them myself, because if you do this yourself, it doesn't need to be complicated. I braid them, but you could just have a piece of string, tie 3 knots in it and tie it around your wrist so that you see it every single day. And that reminds you to do 3 things. And I always try and do 1 for your head, 1 for your heart, and 1 for your health. And if you do 3 things every day for your head, heart, and health, head can be learning, it can be trying to do something that you're working on, maybe your passion, your job, or your business, whatever it happens to be. That is what you should be doing every single day. And if you do, you can make sure that you write those things down, tick them off your list. That builds confidence. Confidence basically builds you a future. And the first person you've got to convince you can do anything is yourself. And if you can't keep the promises to yourself, you will not be able to keep them for anybody else or the rest of the world, because if you do not believe you can do something, it is impossible. It is literally that simple. That's been attributed to Henry Ford. Not true, it wasn't him, but there you go. That doesn't really matter. That's not the point. The point being is, if you don't believe yourself, nobody else will either. So it all starts down with keeping the small promises to yourself, and if they're just so ridiculously small that they can't be any smaller, that you can get them done on a daily basis, so you don't procrastinate over them. That's important if you've got ADHD. So for example, this is one of those things that I do now, and I'm talking about now. I started, this is now 120 days ago, but I used to do them before, but irregularly. So I said, okay, each day I'll do 1 really short video. Doesn't matter, even if it's only 20 seconds. And I have not done every single day. I have missed 1 or 2. I forgive myself for that. And the 1 or 2 short videos, I just make sure I try and get them done every single day. And the more you do it, more often it reinforces. The more confidence you get, the better you get at speaking. In this particular case, which is what I'm talking about, I'm talking about my mission, which is basically drug-free ADHD and super focus. And for that, it's something that I think that the world needs to hear about, because it is 1 in 5 of us within our lifetimes will suffer some sort of mental challenge. Whether that's an injury, whether it's a disorder, whatever it happens to be. In my particular case, what I have is permanent. It doesn't necessarily have to be. So there's 33% of people that have ADHD when they're younger. They don't have it when they get older. I must say to that, there is some science to show that basically it does, if it is going to peter out, it's probably going to be by the age of 30, and after that, more than likely not. But you never know. Science is always changing things, so things may change with that. But that said, I have, as getting back to what I was talking about beforehand, which is basically the triple filter. These are 3 knots. 3 things that I want to do, and also it reminds me to keep be mindful of my thinking, because a lot of the stuff that we do is automatic. So if you are having a thought and you repeatedly have it, always ask that question that Socrates was asking of the person that wanted to tell him something that wasn't necessarily true, that wasn't necessarily good, wasn't necessarily of any use to him. So ask yourself that, of the things you are thinking repeatedly, is it actually good? Is it true? Is it of use to me? And if it's not, I suggest you try and reframe that so it is of use to you. So there's some things we just can't turn off, that's true. But if you are thinking some sort of negative thoughts about a particular situation, then I find that if you think about the actual situation, then think, okay, what is, even though something was negative in that past, that's something that you fixed in your head. How old were you? What were you doing? Can I actually think of anything that's positive that's come out of that? Even if it's just, I've survived. And that's a big thing. Just imagine, for example, all the people that came out of the Holocaust. I'm sure they were just quite frankly thankful they were still alive. And that is, if nothing else, does make you stronger if you have actually survived something. And that's just something you should be thankful for. And I certainly have in my past, and I know that it's made me a different person and stronger person. So with that, thank you very much for listening. I'd love to hear from any comments if you've got any. If you do have any questions and you don't want to put them in on the public and internet, you can literally write an email to gavin@leaderstribe.tv, and I will answer those within anything from 24 to 48 hours, depending on how busy I am, but I will get around to them. I do answer all the questions. And also, as always, have a plan, make it fun, foster wisdom wherever you see it, and I will see you again tomorrow, and I hope you have a good morning, a good afternoon, or a good evening, wherever you happen to be, and I'll see you then. Bye-bye.